Hey everybody, Andrew back here with another point. This is the fourth episode in my series called Being Bigger Than Size. In the last video I said bigger than life is like almost sounds just as good, so I almost like contemplated changing the whole series name, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with size because it has the the double whammy, so you call it bigger than size. But yeah, anyway, what this video is going to be about is polarities. Alright, and so polarities is such a controversial subject, and it's something that is so deep and like interconnected with everything in the whole universe that it's like you're only going to get how much out of it that you're kind of ready to get out of it, because you know, a full understanding of polarities is like ascending the whole universe. And so, you know, I'm not trying to like get everybody to ascend the whole universe with this series. I'm just trying to teach you how to, or not teach you, but kind of teach you, but for the most part show you how to apply these things to your life to help you be bigger than your current size, your current state, your no matter where you are or what you are. I want you to realize that you are part of something bigger than that, and you have the free will to really land anywhere on the whole scale that you want. And so, like I was saying at the start of this video, or at the start of this series, you know, I want you guys to be able to walk into your job and be like, hey, you know, even if you're just started and you're the brand new employee, I want you to like have the courage and confidence to speak to your manager like he's on equal level with you. Speak to your boss, your GM, like he's on equal level with you, because all humans are equal, and that's just like something that is a fact. It's like, you don't have to believe me, you know, it's like, what? There's no way I could just like walk up to the president and treat him like a normal dude. Believe it or not, you can. He's just a normal dude. And you know, I know personally I have this like mental programming where it's like, oh, I had all these super awesome famous people that I looked up to and thought were absolutely crazy super awesome people. And that's not to say that they aren't crazy super awesome people. It's just saying that, you know, I put them on a pedestal. I put them on a level of things that I couldn't reach, and that's completely the wrong way to go about it, because you are equal to those people. Like I was saying in those videos before, I think the intro or the second video, is, you know, you already are the president, you already are a bodybuilder, you already are a musician, whatever it is you want to be, you already are that. You just have to put the time into manifesting it, into creating it, into making it a reality for yourself. You know, it's like if you put 20 years into being a bodybuilder, you're going to be a freaking bodybuilder. You're going to get massive, but you have to keep dedicated. Same thing with being a president, and same thing with being a musician. You know, it's not like you can't, it's not like those things are out of reach. You just have to dedicate time to them. I mean, you know, some people would say like you have your purpose, and so if your purpose is to be a fast food person, then you can't be a president. But, you know, I think it's really lenient on your purpose. You could say that you make your own purpose. You pick and choose what you want to do. But anyway, to get into this video, all that's a little bit relevant for this video, but what this video is about, again, is polarities. And a good way to think of polarities is just opposites, alright? And so just think like yin-yang, black and white, freaking good and bad, you know, or good and evil, and then, yeah, whatever, light and dark, you know, just opposites. That's what polarities are. So, you know, if I ask you, what is the polarity of a fish? What are you gonna tell me it is? You know, what's the opposite of a fish? Because, I mean, you could say it's like a dog, because a dog is on land and it has legs, where a fish is in the water and doesn't have legs. So they're just kind of like, there's not really anything at all that's like them. One breathes oxygen, one breathes water, which, I mean, has oxygen in it, but for the most part they're completely different, right? So you could tell me that's the opposite, but I'd tell you, you know, that doesn't make sense to me, because what I would consider the opposite of a fish is a bird. And the reason I say that is because, you know, it's like, just my mind conceives fishes and birds as opposites because one's in water and one's in the air. You know, it's like a dog walking, that's like the middle ground. It's not all the way on the other side, you know, it's just kind of in the middle of fish and bird. And so, if, in my opinion, the polarity of a fish would be a bird. And my point in saying that is that a fish and a bird are more similar than a fish and a dog. You know, like, fish have, like, frickin' fins, and then birds have wings. You know, it's like their kind of appendages are somewhat similar. I mean, birds have feet, where I don't think there's a lot of fish that have feet, if any, other than like crabs and stuff. But, you know, it's like your mind categorizes certain things as opposites. My mind categorizes those two things as opposites. And it doesn't really have so much to do with what makes them different as much as just like what your mind categorizes it as. Like, that's what an opposite is. It's almost like there's a built-in entire system for our minds that is just like, all right, you know, this is light and this is dark. This is black and this is white. But the thing that's crazy is that that's not necessarily how it is. And I mean, you can see this right now. It just reminded me, like, if you look at a shadow, right? If you look at like the shadow behind your laptop or your computer, or just like the shadow of something in the room, you know, you can say that the shadow's black and then where the shadow ends is white. But there's a whole little extra area in there that is not white nor black, but it is still part of the shadow, but it's merging into the light. And so it's just like, you know, there's all the way on one side of the scale and all the way on the other side of the scale, but those things aren't necessarily complete opposites, is what I'm trying to get at. Well, they are opposites, but they're not completely different. And then what's in the middle, you know, is kind of just what binds the two of them together, what connects the dots, basically, between the two things, if that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, that's kind of confusing. Like I said, it's like polarities are something that encaptures the whole entire universe. That's what our universe is it's duality. It's the dual nature of things, good and evil, living together in harmony. And so I'm just trying to give you like a little bit of a preview on, you know, how that stuff is around you in every single way. But now to get into things that are a little bit more relevant to you, you can think like political parties. You have Republican and Democratic. What are they at the end of the day? They're both just ways to run a society. They're both government types. But for some reason, you know, our mind categorizes one is way over here and the other is over here, where they're really kind of the same thing. It's just, that's the thing that blurs those two things together would be a government. And so the interesting thing about polarities is, one, that they're more similar in a lot of ways than you would think, and at the same time they always have kind of a middle ground that really connects them together. Alright, and this just made me think about Back to the Shadows, to add a little bit more relevance to it. I mean, you know, you can say that the shadow and the light are totally and completely different, that they are actually opposites, right? But they're both colors. They're both shades of light. They're both particles that our eyes can recognize, you know. If we wanted to talk opposite of light, then we would say like the emotion or the feeling of touch, you know. That would be something that is completely nothing like it, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't make sense to our minds. It's not actually an opposite. And so, yeah, I just wanted to mention that because it kind of confused myself when I was talking about the shadows and how they're opposites. But yeah, they are themselves actually more similar than you'd even think, just like right when you're looking at them, right? And then Yeah, so I said political parties, there's good and bad. In every single movie, you're going to have your protagonist and your antagonist. So at the same time, again, they work in harmony to work together to create kind of like a big bang, to create something that's pretty to observe. It's like, you wouldn't know bitter if you didn't taste sweet, or you wouldn't know sweet if you didn't ever taste bitter. You wouldn't know pleasure if you didn't ever feel pain, and such contradictions that really bring our entire universe to life. All right, and so I just personally think that the end goal of humanity, what everything is really pushing towards, is a unity of these things. It's like separation is all cool and pretty and awesome looking and stuff, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of suffering and pain, especially when the people on each side think of the other side as an enemy. And so I think at the end of the day, we can still have the good and bad, but if both sides realized that the other side was the same as them, essentially, then there would be no reason to classify the other side as bad. So if you think of good and evil, you can't say that good is necessarily good, and you can't say that evil is necessarily bad, because if you say evil is bad, then that evil person is going to disprove you, because maybe they were raised in a crappy position, maybe they actually have to steal and hurt people in order to survive, and they're not actually evil, they're just doing what they think is the only way to survive. So it's like, there's all these things that we use to categorize people as evil, and there's all these things we do to categorize people as righteous, I guess is a better word. But at the same time, they're really more similar than, you would imagine to begin with. And so you have to really look into it and just kind of accept the other party, all right? And so me personally, I like to consider myself a humanitarianist, or whatever the right word is for that. And I would say the polarity of that is capitalism. I mean, there's other things that are kind of the same as it, but I personally like to kind of fit myself into, or I do fit myself into the humanitarianism group, but I do like to kind of push myself over onto the capitalism side sometimes. I like to look at the benefits that lie inside of capitalism so that I never get too far into the black, too far into the white, whatever humanitarianism is. I don't want to get too far into that, because as soon as I get too far into that, it's going to be impossible for me to understand things from the capitalist point of view. And so you need to kind of live your life in the gray, I like to say, if you want to be able to see the bigger picture of what's going on. Now, the thing that stinks about that is that a lot of the people in the, I'm going to use political parties for this sense, but it's just black and white, the people in the Democratic Party don't socialize with people in the Republican Party. And not only do they not socialize with, not all of them again, but not only do they not socialize with people in the Republican Party, but they only socialize with people in the Democratic Party. So you know what that means for the people in the gray, for the bigger picture? It means that they can't socialize with those Democratic people who are too close-minded in order to, accept the other side. And so the thing that stinks about kind of being open to the bigger picture and living in the gray is that a lot of the time you're going to find yourself at odds with a lot of people, maybe even close friends and family members. They're too close-minded in order to actually accept another person's point of view, because they've made up their mind and they're not willing to look at things from the other point of view. And so that's what polarities are really about, is being able to look at the other point of view so that you can understand the benefits behind it and apply the things that you like from the other side into your life, and keep on applying the things that you like from your side into your life, and that way you're going to be a more full and more complete person. Alright, and I'm just going to give another example, and that's just music. Alright, we have all these different genres of music and movies. We have all these different genres in movies. You could say maybe comedy and horror are the opposites, but then what do? They go make a horror comedy movie. And so it's these things, they can fit together even though it seems like they're opposites. And as far as music goes, there's country and rap. You know, they're like totally different. The people who are partaking in these things are totally different, and at the same time they have a lot of aspects that are really similar. In the way that you evolve music is to connect those two polarities and create a country rap song, and then you get new artists that blow up. You get the people who live kind of in the gray, who haven't made up their mind on what side they want to be on. They have their person that they can listen to, and just so long as the artist does a good job at not offending either side, then, you know, both of the other sides are going to be able to enjoy their music too. So that's when you have like a whole new entire genre of music that's created, rather than just an artist that, you know, a certain group of people likes. But anyway, yeah, that should just kind of help you understand the direction that humanity is headed, you know. And, you know, again, like, that's my purpose in making this video wasn't to like evolve your consciousness or anything. It's just to like kind of allow you to apply these things to your life. You know, maybe if you're an artist and you're stuck, then now you know that you can take two different genres, smack them together, and you're going to reach a vast amount of people. Or, you know, whatever it might be. If you have a friend who's Democratic and you're Republican and you guys just can't stand each other, maybe you need to be the person who takes the time to step out of your comfort zone and go check out his side of things. And, you know, just listen to his point of view so that you can understand kind of where he's coming from. And maybe when you do that, he'll be able to listen to you. Maybe not, in which case, you know, it's just like closed-minded people, you know, but it is what it is. And yeah, so the last thing I wanted to say before I end this video, I mean, I already said it, but I just personally think that we're really on a fast track to ending this duality, ending this polarity cycle, alright? It's like, you know, there's all these opposites that have been, you know, good and bad and good and bad and good and bad and good and bad. But now it's like you can't even look at Russia. You can't even look at China as bad when you're born in America. And if you do, you're just closed-minded. You're not looking at things from their point of view. You know, we used to have like just instruments, and then we had like, you know, the strings, and we had like the I mean, pianos are considered strings too, I think, but piano, and then percussion, and then horns, and we have all these different instruments that were considered different, but now they have them all combined, put together to make perfect harmony, and they all work together. And so the thing that's interesting is that we're really on a fast track to uniting all of the polarities and kind of getting a bigger picture view of the world, in my opinion. I think that's kind of where we're headed in this next generation, century, hopefully. You know, maybe it's going to be a whole nother 1,000 years, but I really hope that we can start looking at the other polarity as equal to us and not treating them as less than us, and valuing their opinion and actually looking at it from their point of view, willing to listen instead of trying to, you know, just shove your opinion across. And that way, you know, you might not get everything that you wanted, but at the same time you're gonna have a better agreement. You know, if you can't get exactly what you wanted, might as well at least get like 60% of it rather than none, you know, because you're just constantly fighting. But yeah, that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you get something valuable out of it. I hope you can apply it to your lives. And yeah, I hope you have a great night, great morning, great evening, whichever it might be. And I'll see you next time. Peace out.